One.
Hello, parents. Welcome to our webinar today. Our webinar is going to be about beginning of year assessments. With me today, we have Ms. Lynn Dargaouf, the early years head. We have Ms. Rawan, our IT support. And definitely we have you with us. So just before we start, a few housekeeping points. I am not able to hear you, so if you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A. And the session will be recorded for your further reference. And let's get started. So our agenda for today is going to be divided into three parts. First of all, we're going to talk about your dispositions about assessments, a very brief overview about assessments in PYP, and then we're going to dive more into beginning of year assessments. Why, how, when, and who, and definitely the what. So starting with oh dear assessments. So I just wanted to know a little bit from you based on your previous experiences at school, in university, at work. What words come to mind or what words describe your experience with assessments? And to be able to know more about your disposition, Ms. Rawan is going to share with you this link, this Menti link in the chat box. So please click on the link and share with us what word or words describe your experience with assessments.
We shared the link, Miss Ola.
Thank you, Ms. Rawan. So we're going to wait for you. Oh, wow. And we are starting to have some responses. Mhm. So, so as you can see on the screen, I can really see your responses about your dispositions about assessment. So stress, horror, diagnostics, my knowledge, whoa, measuring, okay? And I can see that the word stress is getting bigger and bigger. It means more than one person has written stress. So let's see, stress, stressful, evaluation, okay, IQ. Okay, so as you can see from your responses, many of your responses um, perceive assessment as judgment or as a source of stress or anxiety, as you can see. And it's also a judgment of a person's IQ. Is he or she smart? Evaluation, harder. So we're going to be revisiting your dispositions about assessment just in a while. So I'm going to go back to my presentation. Okay, so as you could see, most of our dispositions towards assessment are negative. It's probably because this is how we were brought up. This is what we were taught, and this is what we learned about assessments. So I really want you to take a minute also to write for us in the Q&A, why do we assess or evaluate? And I think Ms. Rawan and Ms. Lean will help us, will help me know more about your responses since I'm not able to see them.
No worries.
Why, why do we assess or evaluate? I'm very happy today because you are actively interacting with us during this webinar. It's always that when we think about the why, many things become clear and things fall in place. So do we have any responses, Ms. Lean and Ms. Rawan?
So
Not
far,
yet.
not yet.
Not yet. So even if you're not ready to share with us why do we assess or evaluate, I think with the coming few slides, I hope we will start getting an idea of why do we assess. So moving on, I just
Ms.
wanted to
Ola,
share
we
with
have one.
Okay,
Oh,
please,
something to
can you
come.
share it?
To cater for needs, to improve and develop.
Ms. Ola, I want to add that when we are conducting webinars, there's a delay for the audience to get to the part where we ask them a question. So that's why it takes them time sometimes. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
have
thank
another
you.
one to see where we are.
Okay, great. So we're going to put our dispositions with our prior knowledge about why we do assessments, and I'm going to tell you a very short story about myself and my daughter. So my daughter takes her cousin's cookies, and then she thinks, let's make cookies. And then she does the cookies and she makes them. Now, after she does them, she takes the cookies and she tastes them and she, does it have the same taste as my cousin's? What should we do to make it taste good? And then she starts coming up with ideas. And then she calls me and she says, can you taste the cookies? And then she tells me her ideas of how she can make these cookies better. And then my daughter and I discuss the plan. And the next time, the following time she makes the cookies, she actually starts implementing this plan that we have put together. So what does this have to do with assessment? So actually, when my daughter started to think about making cookies, we were just trying to set the context. And then when she actually makes the cookies, it's as if our students are sitting for the beginning of year assessments. And when she starts tasting, it's like the student is reflecting on areas for improvement. How can I make these cookies better? How can I make my writing better? And then comes up with ideas. And then when my daughter asks me about my feedback, it's like when the teacher confers with your child and come up with a plan. And then after that, when my daughter is ready to make cookies again, your children are ready to implement. So the story is basically an analogy of the process or the steps that your child goes through being in assessment.
Ms. Ola, can you repeat the last idea that you said?
Sorry.
Can you repeat the last idea that you said because the connection was cutting?
Okay, so thank you, Mr. Awan. So what I really wanted to relay here is that this story about making cookies is very similar to the process that your children go through during assessments. So the fact that they are in control and they are the ones who are building their plans and they are the ones who are sharing these plans with the teacher and thinking about next steps is exactly very analogous to the story with my daughter. So in Q&A, I would really want you to help us pause and reflect. Why do you think I did not interfere in tasting the cookies at the very beginning? Why did I ask her to taste it first? What would have happened if I interfered in making the cookies in the first place? And do you think I know the exact ingredients to make a tasty cookie? And that's theoretically. So I want you to choose one of these questions, and if you can share with us some of your answers in the Q&A.
Ms. Ola, I would like to read to you what they said about assessment while we wait for them to, answering the question, why do we assess? to cater for needs, to improve and develop, to see where we are, evaluate learning curve, to understand and tackle needs, to evaluate the knowledge we have, to get a clear evaluation of the students' performance and provide corrective measures if needed, to get a clear evaluation of the students' performance, that's the same one, to identify weaknesses.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Lean. And do we have any responses about what would have happened if I interfered in making cookies? Or why didn't I interfere in tasting the cookies in the first place? Any responses for that?
Not yet.
What do you think, Ms. Lean?
Putting me on the spot here. What do you think, Ms. Rawan? This is a question for you.
I guess she wanted her daughter to have the experience, to enjoy it.
Yes, and to discover by herself, yani it's not just to learn from her mistakes, probably to see how, yes.
Okay, so please remember to add your answers if you can, please. Yes, sorry, Ms. Ola.
If we do not have any answers, probably we need some time to, you know, assimilate and so I will actually move on. So just to make things a little bit clearer to you in terms of PYP, this whole experience with assessment is, if you're looking, this is the PYP model, and you can see that agency is at the heart of what we do. We have the learner, learning and teaching, and the learning community. And you can see that there is this picture is dynamic. It is not static. So this idea of things that are moving around and around shows that this is not something that you look at a specific point in time. It is something that is moving. It is something that has life. It is something that is active, and it is something that feeds off each other. So if you think about the example of cookies, my daughter was the learner, and the learning community, which I was part of, helped my learner focus more on learning and teaching, but she was also in control of her learning and teaching. She had the agency, she had the choice. She chose what to do. She chose the process, and then she really owned the process of making these cookies. I was there as a support. I was there as a facilitator, but she had her voice and she had the choice. So assessment in the primary years program really focuses on developing assessment capable learners who own their learning and are in control of their learning. So your children are assessment capable children. We want them to be assessment capable. We want them to be able to reflect on their own learning and move forward, because this is how they grow as individuals. So they're not waiting for people to tell them what they need to work on. They have to be reflective by nature. And they are in control of their learning. They are agentic. They're not waiting for someone to come and tell them, you have to do this and you have to do that. The more they own it, the more they feel that they have the agency and they move forward in their learning. And they're not waiting for extrinsic factors to make this happen. It always comes from intrinsic motivation. So this is basically why I'm asking you to think about assessment and have this mind shift about assessment. So, Ms. Rawan, do you mind please to share with the team the second Mentimeter and see if there is a little bit of a mind shift in terms of assessment?
Yes, sure.
Ms. Ola, I just want to say we had two responses. It will hinder her initiative and to evaluate the weaknesses and strengths of each child. That was to the previous questions that we had.
Okay. So today what we're trying to do is just we're giving you a, very broad idea about assessment in PYP, and there will be more webinars to really dive into really in assessment in PYP. How does it work? How do we monitor? And how do we document? So this is just, an overview. So we only have one response. Do you think your disposition towards assessment has changed, or is it still the same? When we're thinking about the role of the learner in assessment and developing assessment capable learners. So we have two responses for now. Okay, so I'm just going to stop here, and I'm going to move on with the webinar. So we're moving on to actually beginning of year assessments, and the reason why I did this previous introduction is I really wanted you to become partners with us when your children are doing beginning of year assessments virtually. We are partners in this, and I'm sure that we're trying to make sure that is as authentic as possible, because as you said, the purpose of assessment is to cater to the needs of your children. And I really like how one of the responses was about the learning curve. And aren't we all going through learning curves these days? So yes, to develop, to know where we are, but also to know how we can move forward and to keep that curve dynamic and moving forward. So as I'm just trying to find my next slide. Okay. So we're going to dive more into beginning of year assessments. Okay. So why beginning of year assessments? So I'm very happy that there's a connection between what your thoughts and the reason why we are here today. So the reason for beginning of year assessments is to gain understanding of the learner's current level of performance, to plan for the learner's needs, to adjust and reinforce some of the previously targeted skills and conceptual understanding. So to know more about what the child knows and is able to do. Every year, we do beginning of year assessments in these areas. But this year, it's a little bit different because we are co-collaborating during these assessments. So this year, we're going to have beginning of year assessments virtually in English, Math, Arabic, and French, only for grades 4 and 5, virtually. It's going to happen between the week of the 14th to the 21st, and it's going to be led by the subject teachers. So there's a little bit of an update about beginning of year assessments. So and because we can see that there is really a need to give the children time for beginning of year assessments virtually, you will be receiving an email today, very shortly, that beginning of year assessments, the asynchronous days, are going to be the 16th, 17th, and the 18th. So for PYP KG1 and KG2, we're going to have days 3, 4, and 5 of this week by appointment. And this implies that you as parents have to book 2 appointments with the homeroom teacher and 1 with the Arabic teacher, whether AAL or MSA. For grades 1 to 5, the assessment week is going to be from the 14th to the 22nd, and this includes math and writing assessments. And you're going to have, for grades 1 to 3, we have to book 1 appointment with the homeroom and 1 with the Arabic teacher. And for grades 4 and 5, we need 1 appointment with the homeroom, 1 with Arabic, and 1 with French. Now to get to the most important part, which is our roles. Our role as a teacher, as a parent, and as a student. As a teacher, the teachers are going to explain the purpose of the assessment, and they're going to share very similar information to what I have shared with you. It's about the learning, it's about the development, it's about to help you move forward in your learning. The teacher is going to explain the process, and she is going to tell the students the resources that they might need for the assessment, and she is going to prepare her own resources that are needed for the assessment. As a parent, we really want your help in supporting the children and the teacher in that aspect. Please reinforce that assessment is for learning. It's not a judgment, and it's not a make or break. It's not an assessment of an IQ. It is a process that we go through for learning. We really would like your support in providing a calm environment for the children, making sure that your child attends to the meeting on time and is punctual, and follows directions from the teacher. And last but not least, we want the student to have the resources needed, have the camera on, and ask for clarification when needed. So what we have done today is we just made some brainstorming or activated our prior knowledge about assessment, our dispositions, gave you a brief overview about the role of assessment in PYP. We started speaking the same language or we shared a common philosophy, and then moved on to your role, the teacher's role, and our role in terms of beginning of year assessments. So I don't know if we have questions in the Q&A, and I think that's it. And I just, before we finish, going back to the cookies, we just wish you a chocolate chip cookie day. So Ms. Lean and Ms. Rawan, do we have any questions?
There were a comment about the cookies activity, actually, which was you did not interfere, so your daughter can learn from her mistakes and how to improve the taste.
Okay.
So one of the comments. Questions we do not have.
Sorry, Ms. Rawan, I just want to add to that. I just interfered when it was the right time. So after I gave her the space to taste, to reflect, to think about possible next steps, this is when I interfered to guide and to facilitate the process of learning. Okay, I just wanted to do that clarification. Any other questions?
Not a question, but rather a statement. Somebody said that I believe not only the purpose and the process of the assessment should only be explained to the learner, but also how being involved and making them and taking the initiative and the responsibility helps them not only with the learning, but also it builds their confidence.
I cannot agree more to this statement. definitely with the PYP, we are really working on developing the learner profile attributes in children where they are able to be balanced and principled and reflective. Yes, understanding the role of the different people in the learning process is crucial. This is why after our assessments, the children are going to be involved in goal setting. So they're going to use their assessment and they're going to have conferences with their teachers to help them with goal setting. And that's when you are invited as parents so we can talk about these goals and see how can we collaborate together to help the child move from one stage to another. Ms. Lean, if we do not have some questions now,
yes,
how about you
there
share
are
with
some.
us?
Yes, but
Yeah.
there are some questions. Will the teacher
Okay.
stay online or just give instructions to the child?
The teachers will stay online. Now, with the writing assessment, the teacher is going to be there. She is going to do some icebreakers at the very beginning. She's going to set the tone. And then the teacher will be with the children online during the 40 minutes. And the cameras should be on. And the cameras should be on just because the teacher is going to tell the children, this is how I know that where you are now and how I can help you. It's not a judgment. It's not like I'm questioning the reliability of your assessment. So yes, the teacher will be online with the children during this time.
Ms. Ala, we have one more question. Isn't it too early for the beginning of year assessment since our kids are still adapting to this online learning and this new structure?
That could be one perspective, but also beginning of year assessments are crucial in terms of really helping us set the learning curve for your child. So the more delayed it is, the more the whole learning curve for your child might be, it might delay the learning curve of your child. So yes, we do know that we have our doubt, we have our questions as well in terms of will all the children participate? How much will they interact virtually? So we are waiting to see this experience with you. From our side, we really want to have this as successful as possible. This does not mean that if the child did not interact, it means no data will be handed from the child. Probably, hopefully, soon, if we go back to school, there will be more opportunities for face-to-face. We just want to take things one phase at a time and try to evaluate, see how best we can design for learning for the children. Any other questions, Ms. Lean?
There were a statement, actually. It says it was talking about the assessment itself. It builds their confidence to see that they have achieved what they planned to do. Sense of achievement. Give them sense of achievement, basically.
Exactly. So this is why we celebrate improvement, and this is why we really focus on having children set goals for themselves, so they know that they are trying to um, uh, learn and improve based on their goals, and they're challenging themselves before anybody else. So developing assessment capable children. Ms. Lean, if we do not have any questions,
Yes,
Ms.
there
Lean,
is one very important question actually.
yes,
Will this assessment get revisited as you go through the year?
yes, yes. This is a very good question, and actually, yes, this assessment is going to be revisited. We will have ongoing assessments throughout the year, and we will have 3 main data points, beginning, mid, end. That's when we release our report cards, so we can see the improvement. So throughout this time, we will be doing, we're assessing the learning of the children, and we're doing assessment for learning. So we're helping the child move from one stage to another. And we'll have 3 main data points, like I said, beginning, mid, and end. And so we are able to see improvement and we can see what are the aspects of teaching that we need to change or adapt to help the child move quicker or smoother, if I may say, in his learning curve. Okay, Miss Lean?
Yes.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am. Okay, hello, parents. I'm going to, sorry.
Yeah, Lean, go ahead.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen and to show you how you can log in to the parents' evening system. I'm going to use Ms. Samah's email or account as a parent. So so you're going to type the title, your first name, and your surname as it is on our Wellspring email. Actually, your surname should be your child's family name, and then the email address, your Wellspring email address. So you have to type it here and then type and confirm the email, and then you write the name of your child. First name, last name, and here you have to write IB enhanced primary years. Okay, and then you log in. All right. Since Emily, I'm using Emily, is in grade 1 and 2, so if I need to book, I need to choose the date. So it's either Wednesday or Thursday. So I click on Wednesday, for example. Okay, I'm going to show you how it looks like for you. So you see the names of the teachers where you can book for the names of the teachers who you can book with. So we set for grade 2, it's going to be one with the homeroom teacher and one with the Arabic teacher. So I continue to my booking. And here I see the available time that are available. Now it says, I know some of you are getting join waiting list, and this is the reason why we are adding one more day. So as of 7 p.m. today, you will be able to see an event for Friday, and you will be able to book an appointment with these teachers if you were not able to book an appointment with the Arabic teacher or the AAL. And please note that the names of the teachers are here and it shows what they teach. So if you are not aware who is the Arabic teacher, or you can see that it says grade 2 Arabic, it means this is the modern standard Arabic, the regular Arabic, and this is the AAL teacher who for grade 1 and 2. Okay, and here is the homeroom teacher. So you just usually here, for example, it's already clicked at 11:30. So you just click, and then when you're done, you click here. It says click here to view or print your appointments, and this is what you get. So on Wednesday, I have the appointment with Ms. Shireen Al-Banna, and it's at 11:30. Okay. Now, if I want to book for Thursday, I go back to home and I choose Thursday. Okay, already it's booked, but usually you get the same thing where you get to see the names of the teachers, and you click on continue to book appointments, and you get to choose the time slot that is available. Okay, so I chose also here 11:30. And then when you're done, you just click here. You get the notification on your Wellspring email account that it was booked and what are the timings. So you will able to see this and this. So what were your timings and with which teachers did you book? Does anybody have any questions?
I just want to add that you will be receiving an email very shortly with the changes and the updates. and with the link. So if you haven't booked for your children, please do so as soon as possible, so we can share the times with the teachers for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Any other questions coming up? No?
For grade 1, they have reading and writing. Somebody's asking if they have reading and writing.
For all grades, for KG2 up to grade 5, KG2 up to grade 5, there is reading, which is going to be during these 3 asynchronous days. So reading, writing, and math. So this is for KG2 to grade 5. Grades 4 and 5 only has an extra bit, appointments with French for oral communication. Any other questions?
Somebody's saying that most of the times were booked, so maybe we can re-announce Ms. Ola, if you'd like to.
Yes. Most of the times we're booked. That's why we are having Friday the 18th as another asynchronous day to allow to open the space for more bookings, for more appointments, and because we really want to give each child the time to have the 30 minutes with the teacher, because we are also using this time to help the child bond with the teacher, and so the teacher gets to know the child. I know that we have started with the school, and there was more of team building and group activities. This is going to be the time when the teacher can really know more about the child. The child gets to talk to the teacher one-to-one, build that connection, and definitely be able to work on the assessment. Because we do believe that if the child doesn't feel comfortable with the teacher, and that he or she feels that it's a safe environment, we can't get any kind of learning happening. Any other questions?
We have one. What if a student is camera shy, Ms. Ola?
I think if the student is camera shy, we will not, especially with the younger grades, we are not going to have, we really want to have the camera on for bonding, as I said. But if the child is camera shy, we are not going to force the child. Again, this is supposed to be a positive learning experience between the child and the teacher, and this is how we want to keep it. So if the child is shy, then we will not force the child. But definitely, if the parents can prepare the child, and the teacher will be doing that as well from her side, we would try to create an environment that is safe for the child. Now, if there is an assessment where we don't need actually to have the camera on for the child, if he's reading from a screen or something, that's fine. Any other notes or questions?
There were one question only about where do we receive the confirmation email, and I replied already, but I wanted to confirm it one more time that they receive it in their Outlook inbox.
Yeah.
That
Thank
was
you.
it. Okay. No more questions.
Okay, so and I just want to remind you that a recording of this webinar will be available on our PYP Community Hub. Thank you so much for being with us today. I know days are looking longer and longer, but your cooperation and collaboration with us in this during this virtual learning is actually a learning curve for all of us. So please do not hesitate to contact us if you have any questions. And thank you, Ms. Lean, and thank you, Ms. Rawan, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you.